everybody, welcome back. I know it's been a little minute, like a week or something like that, but you know, your girl is back, ready to finish this book with you guys. We literally have 3 more chapters left outside of this one. 45, 46, 47, 48. So yeah, outside of this one, 3 more chapters. So yeah, if you will go ahead and grab your book, 48 Laws of Power by Mr. Robert Greene himself. This is going to be a very fast chapter for you guys, okay? So let's get into it, and then I will be posting my astrology video tomorrow. So please subscribe and come back tomorrow to see that, okay, guys? So preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. Judgment. Everyone understands the need for change in the abstract, but on the day-to-day level, people are creatures of habit. Too much innovation is traumatic and will lead to revolt. If you need a new position of power or an outsider's trying to build a power base, make a show of respecting the old way of doing things. If change is necessary, make it feel like a gentle improvement on the past. Okay, guys? So, transgression of the law. Sometime in the early 1520s, King Henry VIII of England decided to divorce his wife Catherine of Aragon because she had failed to bear him a son and because he had fallen in love with the young and comely Anna Boleyn. The Pope, Clement VII, opposed the divorce and threatened the king with excommunication. The king's most powerful minister, Cardinal Wolsey, also saw no need for divorce, and his half-hearted support of the king cost him his position and soon his life. One man in Henry's cabinet, Thomas Cromwell, not only supported him in his desire for a divorce, but had an idea for realizing it, a complete break from the past. He convinced the king that by severing ties with Rome and by making himself the head of the newly formed English church, he could divorce Catherine and marry Anne. By 1531, Henry saw this as the only solution. Hey Ahmad, welcome back. How are you? As the only solution. To reward Cromwell for his simple but brilliant idea, he elevated this son of a blacksmith to the post of the royal counselor. By 1534, hi Miguel, how are you? Hey Henry, welcome to the live. Okay. By 1534, Cromwell had been named the king's secretary, and as the power behind the throne, he had become the most powerful man in England. But for him, the break with Rome went beyond the satisfaction of the king's carnal desires. He'd envisioned a new Protestant order in England with the power of the Catholic Church smashed and its vast wealth in the hands of the king and the government. Hi, Mani. Welcome. How are you? No, this is the 48 Laws of Power by Mr. Robert Greene. Hey Markel, thank you. Yes, we're literally almost done, guys. We are literally almost done. We're at law 45 out of 48. Hey Mani Shaman, I don't know. Wagwan footballer. Hi Mukesh, how are you? Big bag. Ooh, that's what you are, stupid basketball clips. Can I be? I'm not sure what that means, Roblox. Hola, Clavier. Hola, Clavier. Ooh, somebody's showing their age. Stupid basketball clips. Are you 5 or 8? Okay, I don't speak Russian. Hey, Max. Welcome. Super bien. Gracias, Clavier. Oh, thank you guys. Wow. Okay, guys, welcome back to what we were reading. Oh, you're 15. We know, we can tell. Oh, thank you, Henry. You're so kind. Thanks. Okay, guys, so back to what we were reading. Moderate. Yes, you can, Roblox. Please moderate for me. Hey, Marley. Welcome to the live, Marley. You shipped me. I'm so confused. What does that mean? Hey, Jake. Te ves genial. Oh, mucho gusto. encantada. I don't know what that means, guys. I really don't know what that means. Okay. I'm not gonna lie. That Gen Alpha slang, I don't know what that means. Cool. Cool. Okay. So guys, yeah, I'm reading. I'm reading. So if you want to be read to, this is what that live is. If you don't, swipe, okay? So, never played Roblox before. Never played Roblox. Oh, I'm from the US. Where are you from? Oh, okay. Yeah, if you want to find me on any other social media, it's at the same name, Aniveda Angel. Okay, guys. Yeah, that's so crazy. Crazy. Anyways, in the same year, he initiated a complete survey of the churches and monasteries in England. And as it turned out, the treasures and monies that the churches had accumulated over the centuries were far more than he imagined. His spies and agents came back with astonishing figures. Oh, yeah. Okay, guys. To justify his schemes, Cromwell circulated stories about the corruption in the English monasteries, their abuse of power, their exploitation of people that supposedly served. Having won Parliament's support for breaking up the monasteries, he began to seize their holdings and put them out of existence one by one. At the same time, he began to impose Protestantism. Oh, yes, I can read slower for you. Protestantism, introducing reforms in religious ritual and punishing those who stuck to Catholicism and who now were called heretics. Virtually overnight, England was converted to a new official religion. I don't know about in this chapter, Michael. Maybe the next one. I think I'm gonna do what is it? Men Love B Words, maybe that book. I don't know. What type of book is that? Someone's testimony? No, this is the 48 Laws of Power by Mr. Robert Greene. I'm pretty sure you heard of it. I'm pretty sure you have. Okay. A terror fell on the country. Some people had, but everybody always thinks I'm reading like the Bible or something. I don't know. If you want to take it as law, you can. A terror fell on the country. Some people had suffered under the Catholic Church, which before the reforms had been immensely powerful, but most Britons had strong ties to Catholicism and to its comforting rituals. They watched in horror as churches were demolished, images of Madonna and saints were broken in pieces, stained glass windows were smashed, and churches' treasures were confiscated. With monasteries that had succored the poor suddenly gone, the poor now flooded the streets. The growing ranks of the beggar class were further swelled by former monks. And on top of all of this, Cromwell levied high taxes to pay for his ecclesiastical reforms. Okay. In 1535, powerful revolts in the north of England threatened to topple Henry from his throne. By the following year, he had suppressed the rebellions, but he had also begun to see the cost of Cromwell's reforms. The king himself never wanted to go this far. He had only wanted a divorce. It's now Cromwell's turn to watch uneasily as the king began slowly to undo his reforms, reinstating Catholic sacraments and other rituals that Cromwell had outlawed. Explain me what is. Abhishek, I would suggest looking up on YouTube because it's gonna tell you. I'm really not versed. I'm really not sure. Pray for you, Henry. What are you addicted to? Henry, what's going on? I'm also thinking of giving advice to people. So if you guys have any problems, let me know and I can give you my advice. It's going to be a new segment called Advice with Anave. What do you think? Let me know. And what are you addicted to, Henry? Oh my God. My suggestion though, when you want to deal with addiction, is literally, you're addicted to lust. I was gonna say go go cold turkey, but that is like a feeling. So what I would say is whenever, okay, so this is something that I do. Whenever something is stuck in my brain or something like reminds me of someone from my past and I no longer want to think of that person, what I do is I literally reprogram my mind. So like say if I think about this person, right? Every single time I think of this person, I literally will tell myself, oh my God, I'm about to make some money. I'm about to make some money. So every single time I think of that person, I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to make money. Oh my God, I'm about to get a sale. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And it was actually working. So every single time you feel like lustful towards someone, you have to reprogram it to something like positive, and then your mind will literally shift. I don't get girlfriend. Tell me the solution. Well, my solution, if you want a girlfriend, is to find a girl that likes you and go after her. And girls love to feel safe and like supported and spoiled. So take it with what take with what I said with what you will. Okay? If you want a girlfriend, take those tips. Okay, guys. So sensing his fall from grace in 1540, Cromwell decided to regain Henry's favor with one throw of the dice. He would find a king a new wife. Henry's third wife, Jane Seymour, had died a few years before, and he had been pinning for a new young queen. It was Cromwell who found him one. Anne of Cleves, a German princess, and most important to Cromwell, a Protestant. On Cromwell's commission, the painter Holbein produced a flattering portrait of Anne. When Henry saw it, he fell in love and agreed to marry her. Cromwell seemed back in favor. Unfortunately, however, Holbein's painting was highly idealized, and when the king finally met the princess, she did not please him in the least. His anger against Cromwell, first for the ill-conceived reforms, now for saddling him with an unattractive and Protestant wife, could no longer be contained. In June of that year, Cromwell was arrested, charged as a Protestant extremist and heretic, and sent to the Tower. 6 weeks later, before a large and enthusiastic crowd, the public executioner cut off his head. No problem, Abhishek. I hope it works for you. Confess to God and ask for forgiveness. I do the same sin again. So are you mostly using, like when you try to, find your mediums to pleasure, are you usually going on your phone, or are you using like a computer or whatever? What is the thing that you're using the most? What would you say, Henry? And that, like, it is gonna take a lot of mental willpower and strength, and one day you're literally gonna just feel so sick of it. Oh, it's Instagram? Okay. What you're gonna have to do is delete the app. And Snapchat. Oh, okay. I would say, unless you have Snapchat streaks, unless you're making money off of social media, delete both of the apps for at least 3 weeks to a month. Literally, your life is going to change so much. You're gonna have literally so much time, and you're going to be like maximizing your time. But don't like delete or deactivate your accounts. But I would just say delete the app and try it for at least 3 weeks. I would say the first 3 or 4 days is gonna be hard, because you're gonna be like, oh my God, I need something to scroll, I need to do this, I need to do that. You're going to have to find something else to busy yourself, whether that's working out or whether that's cooking a meal or something that takes a long time, like a tedious project or a painting or something like that. That would be my suggestion. Take it with what you will. Okay, so let's go ahead and interpret what I just read to you guys. Thomas Cromwell had a simple idea. He would break up with the power and the wealth of the church and lay the foundation of the Protestantism in England, and he would do this mercilessly short time. He knew his speedy reforms would cause pain and resentment, but he thought these feelings would fade in a few years. More important, by identifying himself with change, he would become the leader of a new order, making the king dependent on him. But there was a problem in his strategy. Like a billiard ball hit too hard against the cushion, his reforms had reactions and corrosions he did not envision and could not control. The man who initiates strong reforms often becomes a scapegoat for any kind of dissatisfaction, and eventually the reaction to his reforms may consume him, for change is upsetting to the human animal, even when it is for good, because the world is and always has been full of insecurity and threat. We latch onto the familiar faces and create habits and rituals to make the world more comfortable. Change can be pleasant and even sometimes desirable in the abstract, but too much of it creates an anxiety that will stir and boil beneath the surface and then eventually erupt. Never underestimate the hidden conservatism of those around you. It is powerful and entrenched. Never let the seductive charm of an idea cloud your reason, just as you cannot make people see the world your way. You cannot wrench them into the future with painful changes. They will rebel. If reform is necessary, anticipate the reaction against it and find ways to disguise the change and sweeten the poison. Okay, so how to control that? Well, one, attraction is natural, right? You're always gonna find something or somebody attractive, right? But then once you see them or whatever, it's like, what does your mind immediately go to? Now, is it when you're thinking of that person or you're seeing that person, are you thinking of them in a lustful way, or are you thinking of them like, oh, I wonder who this person is and what they, what they're about and stuff like that? Or are you only objectifying them and sexualizing them? Let me know. So with that being said, let's go ahead and read the very first red little blurb, and that is called Where Christmas Came From. Celebrating the turn of the year is an ancient custom. The Romans celebrated the Saturnalia, the festival of Saturn, god of the harvest, between December 17th and December 23rd. It was the most cheerful festival of the year. All work and commerce stopped, and the streets were filled with crowds and a carnival atmosphere. Slaves were temporarily freed, and the house was decorated with laurel branches. People visited one another, bringing gifts of wax candles and little clay figurines. Long before the birth of Christ, the Jews celebrated an 8-day festival of lights the same season, and it is believed that the Germanic people held the great festival not only at midsummer, but at the winter solstice, where they celebrated the rebirth of the sun and honored the great fertility gods Wotan and Frigga, Donor, Thor, and Freyr. Even after the Emperor Constantine in AD 306 to 337 declared Christianity to be the Rome's official imperial religion, the evocation of lights and fertility as an important component of pre-Christian midwinter celebrations could not be entirely suppressed. In the year 274, the Roman Emperor Aurelian, AD 214 to 275, had established an official cult of the sun god Mithras, declaring his birthday, December 25th, a national holiday. The cult of Mithras, this Aryan god of light, had spread from Persia through Asia Minor to Greece, Rome, and as far as the Germanic lands and Britain. Numerous ruins of his shrine still testify to the high regard in which this god was held, especially by Roman legions as the bringer of fertility, peace, and victory. So it was a clever move when, in the year 354, the Christian church under Pope Liberius, 352 to 366, co-opted the birthday of Mithras and declared December 25th to be the birthday of Jesus Christ. By New Zurich Zooting and Susan Rich, December 25th, 1983. Did you guys know that? It's called what? It's not called Germanic. Oh my god. I forgot the name, but it's like a specific thing. It's like a type of holiday that we all celebrate, like Easter, Christmas. I talked to one of my old coworkers about this. He'll know the name. If you still watch my videos, let me know. Let me know what the name is of those holidays that we celebrate every year. It's like a ritual or something. Now, observance of the law. As a young communist in the 1920s, Mao Zedong understood better than any of his colleagues the incredible odds against the communist victory in China. With their small numbers, limited funds, and lack of military experience and small arsenal of weapons, the party had no hope of success unless it won over China's immense peasant population. But who in the world was more conservative, more rooted in tradition than... So immediately when you first see somebody, you're like immediately thinking of them in a sexual manner. So like I said before, you're gonna have to reprogram your mind. So every single time when your mind starts immediately like sexualizing that person, you literally have to like reprogram your mind to something else. Okay, so what does that look like? What is reprogramming it? So when I look at somebody and I don't know what you're attracted to, but say if I'm a guy and I'm attracted to women, right? And the first thing that I'm looking at is their tatas and their booty, right? And you're not looking at their eyes, you're not looking at their teeth, you're not looking at their mouth, you're not looking at their nose. What you're gonna wanna do, instead of automatically thinking of their body, is who the heck is, because like these are all bodysuits, right? We're only temporarily renting out this vehicle until, you're done. So instead of thinking of like the person or what they're packing or what they have, start thinking, is this even a good person? Start trying to pick their brain. So what I like to do, how I know I'm attracted to somebody, is more than looks, it's their brain. Who is this person? So when you start automatically like sexualizing that person, you want to go ahead and reprogram your brain. So like for the example I gave earlier, every single time I thought of this person, I automatically reprogram my brain so I would be like, I'm making money that day. And it was literally happening, literally. So every single time when you're thinking, every single time when you see somebody and you're thinking of them in a sexual manner, you literally need to reprogram your mind to something else. I don't know what's going to work for you. Only you know your brain the best. But you have to figure, okay, so if you think like, I don't know, you're going to have to think of like, okay, if you want money or something, what do you want? What do you want? If you want something, you're going to have to be like, okay, this and then that. What do I do for work? I actually sell cars. I sell used cars at the moment. What do you do? And after that, I came home. So, I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, when it comes to is willpower, right? If you want to stop something, it's up to you, right? So for me, for example, back in the day when I was like 17, I wanted to stop eating pork, and it literally like I actually loved pork at the time. Like I would eat pork and blah blah blah, and I did some research. It literally started with one thing that disgusted me so much. I did some research. I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw this story of this Chinese baby. He was like 2 or 3, and he had a ball and it went into his family's pen, the pig pen, and the mother pig mauled the kid and ate it. And it just like, me seeing that, like the kid in the pig body, literally, we have plenty, Michael. We actually do have plenty of good deals. We do. So if you want to see me in real life, you know where to find me. But with that being said, it disgusted me, right? So then I started doing more and more research on like pigs and the stuff that they eat, and like how they used to like eat the dead bodies of humans and their kids and all that stuff. And it started to disgust me so much that I literally went cold turkey without eating any pork. And now it's almost 8 years later and I still do not eat pork. So, Henry, with that being said, you're gonna have to literally, one, get disgusted or have the willpower within yourself to be like, you know what? This is gross. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm tired of like dealing with this and having that and that. And go cold turkey. Literally go cold turkey. Every single time you have an urge. Every single time I had an urge to taste a little piece of pork chop, don't even engage, because it's like an alcoholic, right? When they finally stop drinking alcohol and then they feel like they're strong enough, they're like, oh, my friends are going to the bar, well, I'm gonna go to the bar, I'm just gonna get a water. Then the next day, oh, well, I'm just gonna go to the bar, but I'm gonna get a water, but I'm not gonna go with my friends. Then the next day, oh, well, I'm gonna go to the bar, but I'm only gonna get like a vodka lime. Just a small drink, I've been sober for so long, it's fine, blah, blah, blah. Then the next day, oh, well, I'm just going to the bar, I'm just gonna do a couple shots. Literally, yes, you're gonna have to go cold turkey. That's just what it is. Yes, I did. I literally went cold turkey on not eating pork. And then I had accidentally, like, just because I went cold turkey doesn't mean I haven't accidentally ate pork before, because, pork is literally in a lot of things. So when I accidentally ate it, I literally got like physically ill. And I think like in some cases I threw up before, because once your body is no longer, like, if it's not good for you and once you put it in your body again, you will literally throw up. Literally. Like, that's the same thing when you go vegetarian and then you stop eating meat, which I do also. Like, I do a fast every year. When you stop eating meat and then you start back eating meat again, you feel like sluggish and like and you just like lightheaded and feel heavier. Trust me. Okay, guys, so back to what I was reading to you guys. Okay, so the observance of the law. As a young communist in the 1920s, Mao Zedong understood better than any of his colleagues that the incredible odds against a communist victory in China, with their small numbers, limited funds, and lack of military experience, and small arsenal of weapons, the party had no hope of success unless it won over China's immense peasant population. But who in the world was more conservative, more rooted in tradition than the Chinese peasantry? The oldest civilization on the planet had a history that would never loosen its power, no matter how violent the revolution. The ideas of Confucius remained as alive in the 1920s as they had been in the 6th century BC, when the philosopher was alive. Despite the oppressions of the current system, would the peasantry even ever give up the deep-rooted values of the past for the great unknown of communism? The solution, as Mao saw it, involved the simple deception: cloak the revolution in the clothing of the past, making it comforting and legitimate in people's eyes. One of Mao's favorite books was the popular medieval Chinese novel, The Water Margin, which recounts the exploits of the Chinese Robin Hood and his robber band as they struggle against the corrupt and evil monarch. In China, in Mao's time, family ties dominated over any other kind. The Confucian hierarchy of father and the oldest son remained firmly in place, but Water Margin preached a superior value: the fraternal ties of the band of robbers, the nobility that of the causes that unite people beyond blood. The novel had great emotional resonance for Chinese people who loved to root for the underdog. Time and again, then, Mao would present his revolutionary army as an extension of the rubber band in the Water Margin, likening his struggle to the timeless conflict between the oppressed peasantry and the evil emperor. He made the past seem to envelop and legitimize the communist cause, the peasantry could feel comfortable with and even support a group with such roots in the past. Even once the party came to power, Mao continued to associate it with the past. He presented himself to the masses not as a Chinese Lenin, but as a modern Zhuge Liang, and a real-life third-century strategist who figures prominently in the popular historical novel, The Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Liang was more than a great general. He was a poet, a philosopher, and a figure of stern moral rectitude. So Mao represented himself as a poet warrior like Liang, whom a man who mixed strategy with philosophy and preached a new ethics. He made himself appear like a hero from a great Chinese tradition of warrior statesmen. That's a good question. Honestly, I would not be able to know. Maybe, like, I don't want to diagnose you with that and say you do or say you don't. Like I said, you would know best. Do you feel like before you were like heavily engaging in this activity, there was a difference in you, then something happened, something came in within you, or you went somewhere or something, and you don't feel like the you before, and so now is that why you're saying there might be something within you? Like, what happened? What does you before versus you now look like? And then, I mean, also it has to, maybe it could be with age, because I know a lot of the times, like, men, the ages, I mean, I'm not a man, so I don't know, like puberty to, I don't know. It's really like that question. I would say you will probably have to ask a priest for that one, because I have no idea. But you would have to know, like, also, do you feel different before you were heavily engaging in this? Or, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Okay. Even once the party came to power, Mao continued to associate it with the past. He presented himself to the masses not as a Chinese Lenin, but as the modern Zhuge Liang and the real-life third-century strategist who figures prominently in the popular historical novel, The Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Liang was more than a great general. He was a poet, a philosopher, and a figure of stern moral rectitude. So Mao represented himself as a poet warrior like Liang, a man who mixed strategy with philosophy and preached a new ethics. He made himself appear like a hero from the great Chinese tradition of the warrior statesman. Soon, everything in Mao's speeches and writings had a reference to an earlier period in Chinese history. He recalled, for example, the great Emperor Qian, who unified the country in the 3rd century BC. Qian had burned the works of Confucius, consolidated and completed the building of the Great Wall, and given his name to China like Qian. Mao also had brought the country together and had sought bold reforms against an oppressive past. Qian had traditionally been seen as a violent dictator whose reign was short, and the brilliance of Mao's strategy was to turn this around, simultaneously reinterpreting Qian, justifying the rule in his eyes around simultaneously reinterpreting I just said that, in his eyes of present-day Chinese, and using him to justify the violence of the new order that Mao himself was creating. After the failed Cultural Revolution in the late 1960s, a power struggle emerged in the Communist Party, in which Mao's main foe was Lin Piao, once a close friend of his, to make clear to the masses the difference between his philosophy and Lin's. Mao once again exploited the past. He cast his opponent as representing Confucius, a philosopher Lin, in fact, would constantly quote, and Confucius signified the conservatism of the past. Mao associated himself, on the other hand, with an ancient philosophical movement known as legalism, exemplified by the writings of Han Fetshu. The legalists disdained Confucian ethics, they believed in the need for violence to create a new order. They worshipped power. To give himself weight in the struggle, Mao unleashed a nationwide propaganda campaign against Confucius, using the issues of Confucianism versus legalism to whip the young kid into a kind of frenzied revolt against the older generation. This grand context enveloped a rather banal power struggle, and Mao once again won over the masses and triumphed over his enemies. How long would you say that this has been going on for you? How long? Has it been like a few months, recently, years? Like, how serious has this been going on for? So let's go ahead and interpret. No people had a more profound attachment to the past than the Chinese. In the face of this enormous obstacle to reform, Mao's strategy was simple. Instead of struggling against the past, he turned it into his advantage, associating his radical communists with the romantic figures of the Chinese history. Weaving the story of the War of the Three Kingdoms into the struggle between the United States, the Soviet Union, and China, he cast himself as Chuko Liang, as the emperors had, and he welcomed the cult-like adoration of the masses, understanding that the Chinese could not function without some kind of father figure to admire. And after he made a terrible plunder with the Great Leap Forward, trying to force modernization on the country and failing miserably, he never repeated his mistake. From then on, radical change had to be cloaked in the comfortable clothes of the past. The lesson is simple. The past is powerful. What has happened before seems greater. Habit and history give any weight. Use this to your advantage, and when you destroy the familiar, you create a void or vacuum. People fear the chaos that will flood in to fill it. You must avoid stirring up such fears at all costs. Borrow the weight and legitimacy from the past, however remote, to create comforting and familiar presence. This will give your actions romantic associations and add to your presence and cloak the nature of the changes you are attempting. It must be considered that there is nothing more difficult to carry out, nor more doubtful of success, nor more dangerous to handle than to initiate a new order of things. By Niccolo Machiavelli, 1469 to 1527. Now guys, let's get into the keys to power. Human psychology contains many dualities, one of them being that even while people understand the need for change, knowing how important it is for institutions and individuals to be occasionally renewed, they are also irritated and upset by changes that affect them personally. They know that change is necessary and that novelty provides relief from boredom, but deep inside they cling to the past. Change in the abstract or superficial change they desire, but a change that upsets core habits and routines is deeply disturbing to them. No revolution has gone without a powerful later reaction against it, for in the long run, the void it creates proves too unsettling to the human animal, who unconsciously associates such voids with death and chaos. The opportunity for change and renewal seduces people to the side of revolution. Hey, you want to say hey to my life?
Nah.
Oh my God, well, we need advice for Henry. So
You're asking me for advice for Henry?
Yeah, you're a guy.
Alright.
So, okay. Henry, do you mind Okay. So Henry is having problems with lust.
Okay.
And he's having problems with constantly sexualizing other people and touching himself. Is there any way, like any advice that you have to, yes, is there any advice that you have to, like, kind of cut that out? You want to come in the camera?
Sure, yeah.
Henry, we're gonna have a special guest, my coworker here, Jared.
What's up, Henry? Do you have something that you actively are doing like daily? Like for example, do you go to the gym? Do you go running? Do you go to church? Something that you partake in daily that can help keep your mind off of things like that.
So like a physical activity. He's saying. So what do you think?
I think you need start going to the gym. Either go to the gym, get more in touch with yourself, you know, become the man that you want to be. For me, it was, I mean, not that I was in the same position, but just helping me get my mind off of certain things. Like, I had a bad breakup like 2 years ago. I started going to the gym. I found God. I started fishing a lot and just spending a lot of time outdoors by myself and really learning myself and understanding myself before I can learn and understand somebody else. You know, if you want to love other people, you got to learn how to love yourself. And you haven't even gotten to love yet because you're stuck on lust. So you got to get in touch with yourself first, man. You know?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks to Jared. Everybody say thanks, Jared. Bye.
Thanks for talking.
No problem. I think that was pretty great advice. Okay. Okay. La, 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 la. Should I restart that? Human psychology contains many. Okay. I feel like I have to reread this, guys. Aw. I'll tell them that you say thanks. Okay, so let's get back to the keys to power. I'm not going to stop in the middle of this so you guys can just hear it clear and I don't have to keep missing my part, okay? So I'm going to just... Okay, ready? Human psychology contains many dualities, one of them being that even while people understand the need for change, knowing how important it is for institutions and individuals to be occasionally renewed, they are also irritated and upset by changes that affect them personally. They know that change is necessary and that novelty provides relief from boredom, but deep inside they cling to the past. Change in the abstract or superficial change they desire, but a change that upsets core habits and routines is deeply disturbing to them. No revolution has gone without powerful later reaction against it, for in the long run, the void it creates proves too unsettling to the human animal, who unconsciously associates such voids with death and chaos. The opportunity for change and renewal seduces people to the side of revolution, but once their enthusiasm fades, which it will, they are left with certain emptiness. Yearning for the past, they create an opening for it to creep back in. For Machiavelli, the prophet who preaches and brings change can only survive by taking up arms. When the masses inevitably yearn for the past, he must be ready to use force. But the armed prophet cannot last long unless he quickly creates a new set of values and rituals to replace the old ones and to soothe the anxieties of those who dread change. It is far easier and less bloody to play a kind of con game. Preach change as much as you like and even enact your own reforms, but give them the comforting appearance of older events and traditions. Reigning from 88 to 8023, the Chinese Emperor Wang Mang emerged from a period of great historical turbulence in which the people yearned for order and order represented for them by Confucius. Some 200 years earlier, however, Emperor Qian had ordered the writings of Confucius burned. A few years later, word had spread that certain texts had miraculously survived hidden under the scholar's house. These texts may not have been genuine, but they gave Wang his opportunity. He first confiscated them, then had his scribes insert passages into them that seemed to support the changes he had been imposing on the country. When he released the text, it seemed that Confucius sanctioned Wang's reforms and that the people felt comforted and accepted them more easily. Hey, No Cap Daniel, welcome. If you don't mind me, like my cousin sister. If you don't mind, I want to ask something. Okay, yeah, ask me something for your sister. What's her What's her question? Okay. So understand the fact that the past is dead and buried gives you freedom to reinterpret it. To support your cause, tinker with the facts. The past is a text with which you can safely insert your own lines. A simple gesture like using an old title or keeping the same number for a group will tie you to the past and support you with the authority of history. As Machiavelli himself observed, the Romans used this device when they transformed their monarchy into a republic. They may have installed two consuls in place of the king, but since the king had been served by 12 lictors, they retained the same number to serve under the consuls. The king had personally performed an annual sacrifice and a great spectacle that stirred the public. The republic retained this practice, only transferring it to a special chief of the ceremony, whom they called the king of sacrifice. These and similar gestures satisfied the people and kept them from clamoring for their monarchy's return. Another strategy to disguise change is to make a loud and public display of support for the values of the past, seem to be a zealot for tradition, and few will notice how unconventional you really are. Renaissance Florence had a centuries-old republic and was suspicious of anyone who flouted its traditions. Cosimo de' Medici made a show of enthusiastic support for the republic, while in reality he worked to bring the city under the control of his family wealth. In form, the Medicis retained the appearance of the republic. In substance, they rendered it powerless. They quietly enacted the radical change while appearing to safeguard tradition. Science claims a search for the truth that would seem to protect it from conservatism and the irrationality of habit. It is the culture of innovation. Yet when Charles Darwin published his ideas of evolution, he faced fiercer opposition from his fellow scientists than from religious authorities. His theories challenged too many fixed ideas. Jonas Salk ran into the same wall with his radical innovations of immunology, as did Max Planck with his revolutionizing of physics. Planck later wrote of the scientific opposition he faced. A new scientific truth does not triumph by convincing its opponents and making them see the light, but rather because its opponents eventually die and a new generation grows up that is familiar with it. The answer to this innate conservatism is to play the courtier's game. Galileo did this at the beginning of his scientific career. He later became more confrontational and paid for it. So pay lip service to tradition. Identify the elements of your revolution that can be made to seem to be built on the past. Say the right things, make a show of conformity, and meanwhile, let your theories do their radical work. Play the appearances and respect past protocol. This is true in every arena, science being no exception. Finally, powerful people pay attention to the zeitgeist. If the reform is too far ahead of its time, few will understand it, and it will stir up anxiety to be hopelessly misinterpreted. The changes you make must seem less innovative than they are. England did eventually become a Protestant nation, as Cromwell wished, but it took over a century of gradual evolution. Watch the zeitgeist. If you work in a tumultuous time, there is power to be gained by preaching a return to the past, to comfort, tradition, and ritual. During a period of stagnation, on the other hand, play the card of reform and revolution. But beware of what you stir up. Those who finish a revolution are rarely those who start it. You will not succeed at this dangerous game unless you are willing to forestall the inevitable reaction against it by playing with appearances and building on the past. Oh my God, guys, that was so much right there. Okay, so authority. He who desires and attempts to reform the government of a state and wishes to have it accepted must at least retain the semblance of the old forms, so that it may seem to the people that there has been no change in the institutions, even though in fact they are entirely different from the old ones. For the great majority of mankind are satisfied with appearances as though they were realities. By Niccolo Machiavelli, 1469 to 1527. So guys, close your eyes and imagine this unless you're driving or handling heavy machinery, okay? The cat, creature of habit, it loves the warmth of the familiar, upset its upset its routines, disrupt its space, and it will grow unmanageable and psychotic. Placate it by supporting its rituals. If change is necessary, deceive the cat by keeping the smell of the past alive. Place objects familiar to it in strategic locations. Okay, guys, let's get to the end of this. This is the reversal to the law. So if what I said before is not applicable to you, okay? The past is a corpse to be used as you see fit. If what happened to the recent past was painful and harsh, it is self-destructive to associate yourself with it. When Napoleon came to power, the French Revolution was fresh in everyone's mind. If the court that had established had borne any resemblance to the lavish courts of Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, his courtiers would have spent all their time worrying about their own necks. Instead, Napoleon established a court remarkable for its sobriety and lack of ostentation. It was a court of a man who valued work and military virtues. This new form seemed appropriate and reassuring. In other words, pay attention to the times. But understand, if you make a bold change from the past, you must avoid at all costs the appearance of a void or vacuum, or you will create terror. Even an ugly recent history will seem preferable to an empty space. Fill that space immediately with new rituals and forms, soothing and growing familiar. These will secure your position among the masses. Finally, the arts, fashion, and technology would seem to be areas in which power would come from creating a radical rupture. What? What?
So about I think you guys are right.
What?
About the.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
why?
Because he's all over the place. Like, he just picked me up and he's everywhere.
I told you.
And right now he snuck up to Reynaldo's office.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw him. I'm like, the hell are you doing, bro? He's like looking for me, and then he finds me. He's like, what do you want, Nikki? And I'm like, yo. So he goes, he's somewhere upstairs, and he's driving the BMW because Reynaldo told him, hey, take that car home and all that. Let me know how it rides.
Uh-huh.
So he's somewhere upstairs. I can't find him because they need the BMW key. And I'm like looking in all the rooms, and he's not there.
He's in the back office.
Oh, I don't know.
In that corner by Brandon's office. Wait, come.
Go
There's more advice.
What's
Okay. It's for his cousin. She's 9. Whenever she goes to study, she sees a woman and a baby standing next to her. Even a ghost beats her and chokes her. It looks like she's trying to escape. The ghost does not let her study. Any advice?
For his sister?
My mom, dad, and I pray a lot, but it hasn't worked. Some people say it's a psychological problem, but we think it's not. We even brought her to my house and let her study, but she didn't see anything.
Who is this?
His cousin's sister.
You're okay. I'm gonna put it like this: your cousin isn't seeing no ghosts. That's her dad. She's probably in an abusive thing. That's what I'm gonna guess. If she's getting beaten and stuff, a ghost can't interact with you physically. I don't believe in ghosts, so maybe I'm not the person to go to for this. But I would look into the household. Her dad could definitely be beating her or something. Or her mom.
So she's getting beat by the ghost?
Yeah, man, I don't know about that.
No, she probably is getting beat by a person. Here, she only saw things at her house. I think someone has done witchcraft on her.
She's 9.
No, I think you need to take her to church and get some holy hands to touch her. And y'all need to go to a prayer circle and get a preacher to pray for her. For real. But no, he's upstairs.
I don't even want to find him. I don't know what he's doing.
He's in that corner.
I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, no, you're gonna have to find him. You see the bathroom?
I think he's whacking it.
Nah, not at work.
Bro, yes.
Not at work.
He just told me he doesn't give that he does whatever he wants in the car with him. So now I'm thinking he was like, damn, now I kind of want to do it. So he snuck up there to go do that. Either that or he's sleeping.
He's probably sleeping.
I'm not gonna wake him up.
Well, I mean, I'm about to leave work.
Oh no, I'm not asking you to wake him up either. I'm just
Oh,
saying,
yeah,
this
I'm
is
just
like,
saying.
bruh.
You're gonna have to, I mean, it's time to go soon, so.
I'll let him sleep here all night. I don't care.
Oh, well, then if you don't care, then don't do anything. But if you do care and you want to do what you have to do, he's probably upstairs in that corner office. Okay, let me finish this, guys, for you. In other words, pay attention to the times, but understand if you make a bold change from the past, you must avoid at all costs the appearance of a void or a vacuum, or you will create terror. Even an ugly recent history will seem preferable to an empty space. Fill that space immediately with new rituals and forms. Soothing and growing familiar with these will secure your position among the masses. Finally, the arts, fashion, and technology would seem to be areas in which power would come and from creating a radical rupture from the past and appearing cutting edge. Indeed, that such a strategy can bring great power and it has many dangers. It is inevitable that your innovations will be outdone by someone else. You have little control. Someone younger and fresher moves in a sudden new direction, making your bold innovation of yesterday seem tiresome and tame today. You are forever playing catch up, and your power is tenacious and short lived. You want to build. You want power built on something more solid. Using the past, tinkering with tradition, playing with convention to subvert it, will give your creation something more than monetary appeal. Periods of dizzying change disguise the fact that a yearning for the past will inevitably creep back in. In the back, using the past for your own purposes will bring you more power than trying to cut it out completely, a futile and self destructive endeavor. Yes, guys. So that is going to be the end of Law 45. Oh, this is my outfit, by the way. This with some cowboy boots. Yeah, it's a pretty chill outfit, I would say. But as far as your cousin, I'm definitely suggesting bringing her to church. That would be my suggestion. Getting a preacher to pray for her. Thanks so much for watching.